I have studied meditation for fun for a very long time. I have learned the following. Just like we have five external senses to be in this world, we have five internal senses to be in God's world. The kingdom of heaven is within. We are born to be hardwired with God. There is so much of God just contained in our DNA. We were created to experience so much more than what we have. Our car is just sitting in the garage. All the great masters have said, go within. Use your internal senses and experience God. There's a light to see. This light is pure love. Listen to the ringing in your ears. This will help start your journey. Be your breath. Feel the power of love. The universe is behind your breath. This is not just some theory. Millions of people are experiencing this in this moment. You can solve this puzzle. Open up your eyes.
Garbage collector for the mind. We need a garbage collector for our minds. It seems like so much garbage is in the world. Mankind is spewing hatred upon the land. We need a reset button. We need to turn on the garage disposal of the mind. Turn on the water of life within and flush out the garbage. Mystics have used this process for thousands of years. The inner light within dispels the darkness. Flip on the switch within. Only you can do it. The world needs you to flip on your switch. The light dissolves all negativity. Don't embrace the chaos in this world. It wants you to be enticed. It wants you to draw you in. It doesn't want you to embrace the light. Even if you have meditated for thousands of years, you still must be on your toes. Remember the Tao of life. You must be in perfect balance. Relax your muscles every day. Did you know that past traumas get stored in your body and muscles? Day by day, year by year, they fester. This ultimately leads to disease. When I was young, I learned a very easy yoga technique. It was so simple I ignored it for many years. Fast forward 48 years. I just started to practice this again. It's very easy. Just tighten and relax starting from your toes to the top of your head. Tighten each part 3 times. Start with your toes, ankles, thighs, stomach, and hips, upper chest, and back. Tighten your hands, elbows, and upper arms. Tighten your throat. Tighten all your muscles in your face. The last part, tighten all in one sequence, all of the above. Do this 3 times. This should take around 4 minutes. At first, you'll probably have a hard time doing this. The body and mind are not used to being in sync with each other. Over time, you're training the body to be more relaxed. Anybody can do this. The path is what you think it is. The path is what you think it is. I think that is ironic. Your thinking dictates your path in life. If you're lonely, your path will be lonely. If you're angry, your path will be angry. If you are sad, your path will be sad. If you're happy, your path will be a happy path. It seems like our emotional state and mental state creates our paths in life. Did you know that all your ancestors walk with you on this precious path? You are never alone. Ask a quantum scientist. You exist everywhere. Your loved ones are all around you. They just move into another room in the mansion of life. Remember, it's one mansion. It has many rooms. One by saying, learn to think outside of your box. You are limiting yourself. Tap into silence. From there, you will experience the quantum field. Your essence is pure light. You are hardwired for this experience. The light exists inside of you and the entire universe. This is your true essence. Hopefully, you will contemplate these words. They have a deep meaning. They are meant for you to connect directly to the source of all. You will then have a deeper meaning on this path of life.
Is this from a mystic or a scientist? Kabir, a mystic from the 15th century, said the following: all know that the drop merges into the ocean, but few know that the ocean merges into the drop. Now that is profound. A modern-day Einstein might have said that today. The entire universe exists inside of us. We are a part of the universe. Is this a paradox? We are beyond time and space. There are billions of universes. Inside of our DNA is a part that is not material. It is spiritual. No instrument known to man can detect this yet. Yet the mystics have said all along, you are hardwired for this experience. Ponder this message. The divine words from Kabir are alive. means eager to know or learn something. I've been curious all my life. My mom and dad taught me the adventures that ethnic food at such a young age. It still continues today. That curious nature never goes away. In fact, it actually increases the more you get older. I remember that you can't rest on your laurels. In the 90s, I built a dome automation for the observatory on Maui. I didn't know C++ yet. I was extremely curious and knew I could pull this off. When I finished it, I thought they might give me a few days off. Nope, it was on a Friday. I was back to work on a Monday. It was a huge accomplishment. My curiosity was one thing that got me to learn how to meditate. I read books on the mystics and wanted to know what they were talking about. It seemed like a foreign language. So I persevered and was curious about this adventure. It was love at first sight. I had a knack for this. Yes, nobody gets a free ride, but I had a knack for this meditation. It came easy to me. I think we need to approach life like a curious child. Never lose that. If you do, plant the seed in your heart and water it daily. Your curiosity will grow. The definition of adventure is the following: engage in hazardous and exciting activities, especially the exploration of unknown territory. I remember as a kid, I took a yoga class. At that time, yoga was relatively unknown in America. Yoga was around during the late 1800s, yet the majority of the population thought it was on the fringe. It was definitely an unknown territory. This love for adventure took me all over the world. With a surfboard in my hand, a backpack on my back, and a yearning to discover my true nature, I was off. I had quite the adventure. I learned the greatest adventure lied inside. This is truly unknown territory. You can live anywhere and have a simple life, but by exploring your true nature is the adventure of a lifetime. Lock a person up and put them in solitary confinement and see what happens. The greatest adventure is to tame your mind. That is probably the most difficult thing to do. Mystics have been talking about this for thousands of years. Today, yoga is mainstream. Millions of people practice it. Maybe something is going on. We are slowly learning more about life.
Self-regulate. Self-regulate is the process of bringing the mind and body into balance. This is desperately needed today. Mankind is living like leaves blowing in the wind. Our subconscious is running the show. Over 90% of our actions come from the subconscious mind. You can't separate the body and mind. Our good and bad habits are ingrained into our bodies. The body over time knows instantly how to react, even before the conscious mind. You could say it's an automatic response. That's the problem. Did you know the mere thought of a trauma brings up the trauma, just like it happened yesterday or 50 years ago? We live our lives in yesterday. We think and act and respond to our subconscious mind. Mind you, it's just like a hard drive where this memory occurs. The thought just goes to the hard drive, to the particular sector where the info is stored. Presto, in less than a second, you respond. In these instances, you respond. Thousands of chemicals gets created and flooded into your bloodstream. Stress hormones gets released. The body is in panic mode. Your system is totally off balance. Not only that, but you are enhancing your neural network and wiring this trauma further from what it was. This trauma over time could define you. Why don't we learn this in schools? It's a mystery to me. Maybe because society at large lives in remote control. We think we understand the mind and body. Some people's faucets of adrenaline never get turned off. Therefore, they toss and turn all night and can't sleep properly. Mind you, a good night's sleep is how the body gets regulated and puts itself into balance. This is a miracle taking place. Probably trillions of unconscious operations take place. God's supercomputer inside is trying to bring balance to your life. Yet we are unaware and carry on with our subconscious actions day by day. Look at a newborn baby. When it fades away to sleep, a smile is on her face. That, my friend, is what we are supposed to do. So what is this self-regulate thing you are talking about? How about learning to do this process consciously? How about learning how to reprogram yourself? How would you like to rewire your neural network? How would you like to live in the center of the hurricane? How would you like to discover the jewel within? Wise men have been saying for thousands of years, what is keeping you alive? What is the power behind your breath? The same power of breath that is keeping you alive is keeping the universe alive. We have the operating system, hardware, and software installed. The wise person learns to focus on the power of breath in each and every moment. This is called the present moment. This is an infinite field of existence. All creation comes from this field. Kindness, joy, compassion, love, and an infinite amount of qualities we can't even imagine exist in this field. A wise person understands to self-regulate daily. We all get knocked off balance. This is probably the most difficult video game ever played. A wise person is constantly aware of his thoughts and emotions. When trauma hits and we respond unconsciously, we can quickly restore balance. One can breathe and go into the field. This is our natural state. One's awareness should be on the heart. Love and compassion are the motions to self-regulate. By being in this state, one can slowly learn to self-regulate. When one is in a state of love and compassion, new neural networks and wiring will occur. Imagine doing this over 1,000,000 times when you are alive. One learns how to reprogram ourselves from being victims to a place of empowerment. Most of humanity has their lives on autopilot. This is where the problem stems. This is why I say the spiritual life is the most practical life. To self-regulate takes your will and intention. You must be 100% committed. Even in the beginning, if you aren't, that's okay. Just start where you're at. The main thing is that you want to change and are willing to do something about it. Dr. Joe Dispenza says, unfortunately, for most people, they have to have a life and death situation occur to be open to change their ways. He said, why not learn to change during easy times? This is just a small piece of the puzzle when it comes to learning how to self-regulate. One is constantly learning and growing. We can never stop and clap our hands and say, I've mastered all there is. Remember, there are infinite levels in the video game of life. Even when you die, there are infinite levels. Everything changes. Everything morphs and grows. Disengage. The wise men of the past said to disengage from this world. Mind you, they didn't say to escape this world. The Kabbalists would say, have your feet on the ground and your head in heaven. Most of humanity lives their lives like leaves blowing in the wind. We react in each and every moment. Our subconscious minds runs the show, yet we think we are in control of our lives. I've been meditating for 15 years. Yes, I'm just beginning to see how the subconscious truly controls our minds. If you want to act a certain way when the situation arises, the subconscious and body will react before you can. This is quite the predicament. No wonder all the great masters have said that conquering yourself is the most difficult thing to do. Yet, on this journey in life, we have come such a long way. We have no idea how far we have traveled. What does it mean to disengage? One who pays attention to the power behind the breath learns how to disengage in life. One performs actions, yet at the same time, one is present in the moment. The moment is awareness of the quantum field. Everything in the universe stems from it. In this state, one has his feet on the ground and his head in heaven. There are infinite levels of this state. Slowly, people transform. Dr. Joe Dispenza has seen almost instant results in his students. The mind and body can heal instantaneously if given the right conditions. He used to do a 4-day retreat. He saw that over 4 days, many of his students just reached the point of being truly disengaged. Joe changed the format to 7 days. This had profound results. Dr. Joe uses the latest scientific instruments in his seminars. He can totally predict when a person is going to transform. Many scientists can't believe what they are seeing. It is so far off the normal charts. Many of them think a person is having a heart attack or stroke. Joe simply smiles because he has seen this thousands of his students with the live brainwave monitoring before. When a person can disengage the mind, this person enters the quantum field. This is our natural state. Many moons ago, I read Ram Dass's book, Be Here Now. To be honest, I didn't understand a word he said. Years later, this is an integral part of my life. My life is dedicated to being in this state. I say quite frequently, the more you pay attention to something, the more attention it will pay to you. Anybody can learn how to disengage the mind from this internal world. We do this every day when we go to sleep. Yet to do this consciously is another story. It takes your will and determination. Today's cutting-edge scientists and the teachings of old are both talking about the same thing. They just use different words. In the last 10 years, science has gotten to a point where they can see and measure the effectiveness of spiritual training. Many people think only the yogis, Buddhists, and renunciates can have this experience. Yet the hardware, software, and operating systems were put into place when you were born. You are hardwired for this experience. Personally, I think that apathy keeps us from even trying to open ourselves up to our true nature. We are so busy and stressed out, we prefer misery to take action to discover the jewel within. It's so easy to have our lives on autopilot. We don't have to do anything. Yet, this is like a ship without a rudder. To disengage in life, one sees the rudder of life and can steer the boat to its destination. One doesn't try to swim upstream. One turns the boat around and the river of life carries you downstream. This is what happens when a person disengages. When I was in India many years ago, I was told only a lotus flower can grow in the dirty, mucky water. Its roots are in the water, yet the flower rises above the swampy water. This metaphor is like us. A precious lotus flower exists inside of us. This is our true nature. We have simply forgotten it. We have all experienced this lotus before, especially during our youth. In those days when you could hardly wait for the sunrise so you can have a glorious day. Today, we dread getting out of bed in the morning. I have to drag myself to work during another rush hour. A wise man simply smiles at rush hour. He is content and is not affected by the traffic ahead of him. Remember, this is a state of mind. One smiles and another is honking his horn and getting angry at the drivers around him. This is an example of feet on the ground and the head in heaven. Heaven is a state of mind. The more a person disengages himself, the more in harmony this person will be. These are natural laws. The universe does not favor anyone more than another. Yet the law of being disengaged does apply. Remember, the more attention you pay to something, the more attention it will pay to you. By paying attention to your problems constantly, you bring even more problems your way. I know many people dislike the law of attraction. It's been a buzzword for 20 years or so. Yet, you attract what you think. Your subconscious is a hard drive of your thinking. To change means to think outside of the box and be aware of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. By being disengaged externally, it helps one to see with clearer vision. You can learn how to do this. If it took me around a month to ride a bicycle, you can learn how to do this. The art of practice and creativity. One who practices the art of discovering the jewel within is truly a wise man. I remember when I was in grade school, I couldn't understand any of these concepts. They were way beyond my train of thoughts. I instinctively knew there was a jewel inside of me, yet I didn't have a clue how to find it. Since I was 18 years old, I started on this magnificent path. It seems like wisdom is like wine. It gets better as the years go by. Just think the same wisdom exists inside of you. I've been writing every day since 2017. I wrote a book previously 10 years before that. Many of my friends said I should write a book of my life many moons ago. I spent around 30 years writing and forgetting about it. I would pick it up where I left off, and the process would continue. To be honest, I was a terrible writer in schools. I have come a long way. Granted, I'm far from being a good writer, but practice makes perfect. I wrote the following words 2 weeks ago. I've been posting almost every day since 2017. Since then, over 55 books have been created. Over 92 collections of the day have been written. Each collection contains about 11 thoughts for the collection. Each month or so, I would do a talk of the month. I talk about what's relevant for us to get along together. All these have been presented in both audio and a PDF. My intuition tells me at times this is information overload. Even the best advice must be chewed slowly. Yet, the story must continue. This is an example of the art of practice and creativity. Remember, the more attention you pay to something, the more attention it pays to you. All these books would have been impossible to write earlier in my life. I didn't have the wisdom or writing skills to pull it off. The more you write, the better you get. I may never get to the level I want, yet mere practice enhances my ability. Remember, my brother John just hopped on a bike and rode to the sunset. It took me over a month just to ride the darn thing. Yet this was an incredible lesson to learn. I learned I could master anything with practice and determination. My wife would often say, "You learn things too quickly." I just simply smile. My writings have hardwired my brain and neural circuits. It has allowed me to think outside of the box. My mind and body are being refined. These books are my practical tools to use to enhance my life. It is not some set of theories. I incorporate this wisdom daily. Granted, we never learned this in school. Now that doesn't mean it's not beneficial for us. Wisdom is wisdom. My purpose is to simply be an author, and hopefully you can take this advice to heart. You have your own unique journey in life. My journey is my unique journey. Your journey is unique to its own. Yet there's a common thread of love tying us all together. This is what I'm talking about. The same creative source that is keeping you alive is keeping the universe alive. The world of mystics and scientists is both talking about the same thing. Practice makes perfect. This goes for your life. Whatever action you do reinforces your neural circuits. It reinforces the mind and body connection. It doesn't matter if it's good for you or bad for you. That's how it works. Remember, the more attention you pay to something, the more attention it pays to you. Old South and New South. Here's an incredible description of the Old South and New South. Jesus answered, "I tell you the truth. No one can enter the kingdom of heaven unless he is born of water and the Spirit. Flesh gives birth to flesh, but the Spirit gives birth to spirit. You should be not surprised at my saying, you must be born again." A modern-day scientist would say we would have to rewire our neural networks and brains. We have to rewire the operating system, hardware, and software. We come into this world with all systems running, yet due to ignorance, the system is malfunctioning. We are supposed to live in the center of the hurricane, not in the whirling winds of the mind. Big difference. The old self must be dropped. It's like a metamorphosis of a caterpillar. It turns into a cocoon and then a beautiful butterfly. This is the transformation of the old self and the new self. We have to transform. The book's title, You Are Your Own Master Chemist, is attempting to describe that it's by your will alone can you change. You can have all the most incredible theories in the world, yet without putting them into action, one goes nowhere. You can't quench your thirst by thinking about drinking water. You must drink the water. It doesn't matter what kind of vessel you use to drink the water. The difference between the old self and the new self is the old self is always in a reactive state. The subconscious is running the show. We just think we are. The new self knows the subconscious is running the show and attempts to do something about it. This is where the art of disengaging, meditation, and self-regulating comes in. This takes day by day, moment by moment, year by year practice. One learns to reprogram the mind and body connection. This is probably the most difficult thing to do, but also the most rewarding. Anybody on this planet can do it. Remember, the more attention you pay to something, the more attention it pays to you. In the eyes of Almighty, there are no favorites. By developing your will and fortitude will transform you. This is an active path, not a passive path. The same silence the great masters of the past entered is the same silence that exists inside of you. All the great masters had different words and stories to describe the inner kingdom, yet the same door exists inside of you. The Kabbalists might say, feet on the ground and have your head in heaven. There are so many great metaphors that have been told. Christ said, truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Just look at a newborn baby drifting off to sleep. Now that is a heavenly state of being, not a care or worry in the world. I've said numerous times before, the spiritual path is the most practical path. One who pays attention to the internal and the external is the most practical person on earth. Infinite wisdom exists inside of you. A person may be illiterate, yet acquire the greatest wisdom from within. Information and wisdom aren't the same. The building block of the universe is wisdom. This is going to be short yet sweet. It's time to wash your inner clothes. You will feel so much cleaner if you know what I mean. Your actions create your own future. Did you know your actions create your own future? Just think, over 90% of our actions come from the subconscious mind. The body learns to respond even before the conscious mind has a chance to respond. What a predicament we are in. Are we trapped in our little boxes in life with no way out? We're at level 0 in the infinite video game of life. We don't even know this video game even exists. Majority of mankind will read this, roll their eyes, and continue living without pondering this over. Yet the subconscious mind stores all thoughts, emotions, and actions. Almost all actions stem from the past. A wise man learns how to rewire the brain, mind, and body in each moment. This can be done. Millions of people are doing this. Why aren't you doing this? The jewel you are looking for exists inside of you. You are magnificent. We all come from the creative source. We all eventually return to this source. Why not be aware of this creative source while you are alive? Ponder this over. It may help ask you questions about your own life. Rehearsing. Imagine going to a Broadway show and just shelling out $1,000 for a single ticket. Yet, they have never rehearsed before. They don't even know a single line. Would you enjoy the performance? None of the props were even made. The orchestra didn't even know a single score for the play. Well, that's us in life. The majority just wing it through life. Ted Williams was an incredible baseball player. He had the highest batting average for any player. He rehearsed in his mind, hitting the ball over and over again in his mind. He was rewiring his neural circuits. The mind and body knew exactly what to do with this repetition. The body doesn't know what is imagination and what is a physical action. It's all one and the same. Ted didn't smoke or drink alcohol. This was huge back then. He didn't even go to the movies. He wanted to have an exceptional vision for swinging the bat. In my eyes, he was a baseball mystic for his time. He learned the art of rehearsing and was a master of it. Unfortunately, this knowledge is not taught in schools. You will go far in life if you learn how to rehearse moment by moment. People see the future through the lenses of the past. Are you seeing the future with the lenses of the past? Do you think you have clear vision? Maybe, just maybe, we are wearing tinted glasses. Yet, we think we can see clearly. Are we so stuck on our ways that we will never ask these questions? Why are you asking me these questions? It's none of your business. True. Yet, we are all in the same boat. Maybe we can get on the same page in the book of life. Maybe, just maybe, the world can get along with each other. Yes, we have different points of view. There is nothing wrong with that. the world be a boring place. We all have the same viewpoints on life. Yet that doesn't mean that we can't get along with each other. The problem is we see the world with our own tainted glasses. If someone has a different point of view, we get angry towards them. Nations will go to war because of this nonsense. We declare, God is on my side. God doesn't take sides. Humans must take care of their own garbage. It's called growing up and being mature. We have been fighting forever, so long. Lower the audio of a negative emotion. Imagine you were talking to your sweetheart. You just made an incredible candlelight dinner. Sweet conversation is in the air. You brought out the best wine that could be found. In the background, your lover's favorite music is being played. You're having an intimate conversation. No worries or cares in the world. Time is standing still. Yet suddenly, out of nowhere, the neighbor is blasting his music. The sound is blasting through your walls. It's so loud that you can feel the bass level. We do this almost every day. We must tell our inner neighbor of the mind to turn down the music. If he doesn't, we could turn it down for him. This, my friend, is the spiritual path. This is why it's the most practical path. We can do something about lowering the audio of a negative emotion. Most of us think we can't do anything about it. Many try by using external substance, which leads a person down another rabbit hole. They simply compound the problem. Ponder this post. It might come in handy someday. Are you curious or dull about life? Are you curious about life or are you dull about life? Only you can answer those two questions. Do you wake up in the morning with a smile? Or do you dread every morning waking up? Are you a constant complainer? Or do you count your blessings every day? Are you in constant anger with life? Or do you see kindness in all? Do you judge someone who's totally different than you? Or do you love to see the diversity of mankind? Your thinking is the clothes you wear for your personality. One who knows this will wear clean clothes every day. Maybe it's time to do the laundry. Just saying. Transcendental. The definition of transcendental is as follows. Adjective, existing outside of or not in accordance with nature. Find transcendental motives for sublinear action. At Aldous Huxley. Synonyms: non-natural, otherworldly, preternatural, supernatural, not existing in nature or subject to explanation according to natural laws, not physical or material. Adjective, of or characteristic of a system of philosophy emphasizing the intuitive and spiritual above the empirical and material. I first heard this word when I was 18 years old. I didn't have a clue what it meant. Fast forward 50 years, and this word is a part of my life. Meditation brings one to the transcendental state of mind. It all begins with a seed. Plant the seed in the ground, water the seed daily, pull the inner weeds. Over time, presto, a wonderful tree is grown. We all have the inner seed within. This is your true nature. We can transcend the ugliness and conflicts of the world. Your true nature is not anger and being intolerant towards others. You are the universe. You just don't know it. Memory with emotional charge is called wisdom. If the world at large will learn just this one thing, peace would be on earth. Memory with emotional charge is called wisdom. Right now, think of an event in the past that caused you trauma. As soon as you do, notice your thoughts and feelings have changed. Your body and mind relives this traumatic event. The same chemicals gets released into your bloodstream. Your neural networks get enhanced. A deeper groove is made in the record of life. You seem to play this track over and over again in your life. A wise man learns to take out the inner garbage. He learns how to transform emotional charges into precious wisdom. Been there, done that. I've learned my lesson. One just smiles at life. When one lives in the center of the hurricane, all is calm. As Alfred E. Newman once said, "What me worry?" Maybe dear old Alfred was a mystic in disguise. This 1 ounce of wisdom will help you in so many ways. Don't just blow it off. It will save you so much pain in your life. We can fix the broken record in your life. Ponder this over. This was never taught in our schools. Nerve cells that fire together wire together. These are called neural networks. The brain fires more electrical charges than all the cell phone calls in a day. That is a lot of activity going on. I would have loved to see the brain scan of a Buddha or Christ. Just think how incredible that would be. Years ago, I heard the Dalai Lama would research in his mind all the activities of his day. He would see in the mind's eyes areas where he could be more kinder and wiser in his actions. And at that time, I couldn't relate to it. Well, I sure do now. He was consciously reprogramming his neural networks and his subconscious mind. He didn't have to think about being kind. He trained his subconscious mind day in and day out to be kind. I once read where he said he had a major anger problem as a child. Yet today, it's hard to believe. There's no kinder man on the planet. This is a practical path. What kind of neural networks are you creating in your life? If you don't want to answer that question, then you are like a leaf blowing in the wind. Your subconscious mind is running your show. Nobody gets a free ride. You can turn off the stress control by your thoughts alone. For all my friends who'd like to mock the other side, you can turn on the stress control anytime you want. Just the mere post of mocking someone gets the job done. Yes, you are drinking your own poison. Let's toast to that. Seriously. This is true. You may wonder why you live such an angry life. Well, every day you program your subconscious to be angry. You are creating a deeper groove in the record of life. Anger becomes a part of you. In fact, you get great amusement in mocking others. It becomes over time your nature. You are the universe. You just don't know it. Where are you going, my friend? The precious jewel lies inside of you, just waiting to be discovered. Your life is extremely precious. Heaven is a state of mind. Being constantly angry is a state of mind. You choose what state you want to live in. Ponder this over. It's as simple as that. Modify our behaviors, reprogram the mind. Just think, if you modify our behaviors, you reprogram the mind. What a difference that would make. It's not easy, yet it can be done. Just start slow. You will stumble and fall. That's part of life. Don't get hard on yourself. Pretend it's a game, because it is. Your life will change significantly when you do this. Your happiness is not dependent upon others. You can't blame anyone for your problems. There is a way out of this rabbit hole. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. No, it's not another freight train barreling your way. One who smiles at life is truly content. One has nothing to say or prove. You don't have to defend your position or try to convince anyone. The truth needs no convincing. Have you ever thought if I just changed just one bad behavior, it would make my life easier? Simplicity is the key. Just look at a newborn baby drifting off to sleep. Nothing is more joyful watching that sweet smile appearing. This is your natural state. Observe versus participate. A person who is an observer lives in the center of the hurricane. A person who participates in every event that comes his way is like leaves blowing in the wind. This is the common state of humanity today. Meditation teaches one to be an observer, both internal and external. They even call the meditative state of being an observer. We were never taught this important point in schools. I find it fascinating that probably all these chapters are never taught in our schools. They're basic fundamentals in life, yet we just gloss them over. They are only for the other person, not me. Yet every day, life sends us curveballs. We get quite dazzled by them. We can't even hit the ball, which makes us even more discouraged. We constantly strike out and get down on ourselves. Is this the way to live? A wise man goes to the movies of life and doesn't get sucked into the plot. He knows by turning around, he will see light being projected from the movie projector. Light is bouncing off the screen, creating an illusion. He can enjoy the movie and see the illusion being created. Most of humanity gets sucked in the drama of life and is frustrated. They see no way out of their predicament. What state are you in when watching the movie of life? The mind is the brain in action. I love this quote from Dr. Joe Dispenza. The mind is the brain in action. The mind manifests your current brain state. Your brain state is reflected by your mental state. They are intertwined. One is dependent upon the other state. Somehow, we haven't done too well in calculating this precious formula of life. We tend to ignore our mind and our precious brain. We can't go too far in life if one gets put offline. Why do we trash our mind, body, and soul connection? We seem to love being in a state of apathy. I don't have to do anything, yet we wonder why life is so hard. We are trying to swim upstream. One who looks inside watches his life being carried downstream. Obstacles will still come your way. All things must pass. You will then begin to enjoy whatever comes your way. You have the tiller on your hand, with a precious drink on the other hand. This life is an incredible journey. It's only your state of mind that makes a difference. What do you think? Behaviors to match the intention. If you have an intention to change, don't you think your behavior should match your intention? You will never change if your behaviors don't change. One could go to church every Sunday and give an offering, yet if during the week you don't practice what you preach. Life is an infinite series of modifying our behaviors. There will never be a moment when we clap our hands and say, I've learned all there is. If you ever say this, boy, do you have a grand lesson to learn. I can almost guarantee you life will throw you a curveball. The greater the intention, the greater one must modify his behaviors. One can't live one's life on autopilot. A proactive being is constantly modifying one's behavior for the better. You can't rest on your laurels. Every moment, we can always improve. How does that make you feel? A spiritual path is a practical path. One learns that in each and every moment, we can modify our behaviors for the better. We will stumble and fall, yet we will pick ourselves up and continue walking. We can smile through diversity. We can not have a care in the world. Your behaviors become your personality. Change your behaviors and you change your personality. Memorize and act consciously over and over again. In order to change the subconscious, one must do the following. Memorize and act consciously over and over again. To rewire our neural circuits and subconscious, we must be conscious and aware. We must slow down and enter into the silence. In this state, one is aware. We can learn to memorize new patterns to make our life better. The old habitual pattern will come up. We can learn how to replace this old habitual pattern with a new one that is conducive to our inner growth. The more we do this, we are creating a new neural network that will replace the old one. Transformation will take place. Just like in a play, an actor must memorize his lines. He does this until it becomes second nature. When he goes on stage, he will remember what to say. Stage fright may occur, yet he can overcome it. The same goes for this. We can memorize the lines in life. With slow repetition, we can consciously change for the better. I don't know about you, but I love that. That means we can change every behavior that we don't like about ourselves. We can change for the better. Our attitudes towards life will be of the highest gratitude. This is a glorious life. Nobody changes until you change your energy. Nobody changes until you change your energy. We still live in a Newtonian world. We still are only conscious of the external world of matter. Therefore, we only see 1% of the light spectrum. You could say as human beings, we are extremely dense. For over a century, scientists have been studying the quantum field. Mystics have been studying this for thousands of years. They knew once you change your energy, you change. The mind is like a tuning fork. It vibrates at whatever frequency it touches. When the mind touches silence, it becomes silence. This is our true state of mind. In the East, our present state is called monkey mind. If you don't know what it means, do the following. Sit down, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. Just do that simple thing. You will see that the mind jumps from one branch to another. You can't stop it. I have a friend who gave up trying to meditate because he couldn't control his mind. To conquer your mind is the most difficult thing to do in the universe. Your body is your subconscious mind. The East has always known there is no demarcation point between the mind and body. Western scientists know that the subconscious mind exists inside of the body. Imagine that 95% of our actions come from our subconscious mind. That means only around 5% is conscious. Our bodies are trained to respond even faster than our conscious minds. It is built in that way. Yet, we are unaware of this fact. Consequently, our reactions stem from past events. It's like a computer going to a specific track and playing it over and over again. We respond to past events and we think it's a new one. We do this day in and day out. Over time, we put deeper grooves into their record of life. We build attitudes towards others. We mock people and flame others and think it's perfectly okay. We are intolerant of others. The list goes on and on. If we want to change this world, we must change ourselves. Nobody can do it for you. God will not do it for you. That's why it's called free will. Being a victim versus being a creator. A victim lives like leaves blowing in the wind. A creator lives in the center of the hurricane. Need I say more? Non-placebo effect. I find it fascinating that in all drug trials, some patients are given a placebo. With this placebo, a person heals himself without any side effects. Mind you, the medicine being tested has all sorts of side effects. Some even are death. That's another story. We are on the cusp due to discoveries in the quantum field that will change medicine in the future. How about you don't need an external drug or placebo? That is trying to change matter upon the matter. Yes, it can be done. It's done all the time. But how about the field of energetic medicine, where energy transforms energy? Imagine all health and wellness comes from the quantum field. One can live in this quantum field while being alive. The body can and does talk to you about what it needs. The mind can be a reflection of the quantum field. Maybe, just maybe, we can live a lot longer than what we think. Our state of mind reflects our health. We are told that our bodies must age dramatically as we get older. Maybe this is just a figure of our imagination. We think this is fact, and the body says okay and follows your mental instructions. I think, therefore I am. We are just at the beginning to understand the mind, body, and soul connection. Habits take at least 3 weeks. Habits take at least 3 weeks to become a habit. It is not a one-shot deal. I know a friend who loves to mock and ridicule the other side. She takes absolute delight in this. She has a bunch of friends who finds it hilarious. Yet, she is extremely cruel. How does this happen? Follow me on this. This is hypothetical. One day, she decides to post something inappropriate on Facebook. She gets a huge response back of approval. She does it again, and again, and again. Presto, a new habit is formed. That's how easy it is to establish a habit. When I was young, I learned in order to change a habit, you must replace it with another habit. Many people back then replaced drugs and alcohol with meditation. This gave them a purpose to be alive. Only you can change your destiny. What habits do you want to replace? Closing. I hope you got something out of this book. I most certainly did. I'm fine-tuning my guitar of life. What are you going to do, if anything? You came from the source, and you'll go back to the source. The hardware, software, and operating system has been there your entire life. It's up to you to do something about it. The choice is yours.